So yesterday we were discussing about the course overview, right? We were discussing about what all the things that we are going to deal, and we have seen the simple high-level HLD design kind of thing, something like this. I've showed you yesterday. So I did not explain this, but I know that we'll be going through that in a while. But before that, I wanted to give you a glimpse of what how DevOps have been, like I said yesterday, we have discussed on how DevOps have been evolved over a period of time, right from traditional DevOps to right now the advanced model where there are things that we can discuss about ML ops and all, AI ops, ML ops, all those things. But that is very advanced, and right now it is not a good time to discuss at this point of time. But I'll discuss that little later. So today in today's session we'll see what are the different roles and responsibilities does DevOps engineer do, so like subdomains kind of thing, and what each designation says. Let's see what all the designations we have and what kind of skill set you need to fit that role, right? No DevOps engineer is master of all the tools or all the technologies. So but you can be always good at something, some tools, at least some tools, right? So based on that they can evaluate and whenever they think that you are right fit for that particular role. Or sometimes how does they calculate is if there are less talent outside and less open, there are less people in the market for their for how does companies take requirement or get their positions filled is, so they will see how many resumes they will get, how many they will fit it with the experience kind of this thing, and they will evaluate out of which if you are good at something and if you are average at some other thing and they need that average, the skill set they need was that average skill. How does they take is, since he has already mastered few, he can master this also, so let's take him and then we can train him, or we can give him KTs and he can easily pick it up because he is good at other things, right? There is that chance also where companies can take a look at that. So we will discuss all those possibilities, criteria and all. So let's begin the session. uh, so let's understand the subdomains of DevOps based on the designations that they have given. So we have DevOps engineer. You can also call it as build engineer, or CI/CD engineer, right? So what kind of role does this guy do? So basically, this plain DevOps engineer, build engineer, what he does is, he or she does is, so they will basically take a control of complete tools, CI/CD tools like Jenkins, Git, Maven, any build tool, the artifact management, dependency management, and release management kind of. I mean releases, not release management, but kind of releases, or kind of deployments. So basically, these guys will primarily work on Jenkins, CI/CDs, and very basic platform related stuff, where they will control the infrastructure of DevOps. They don't take care of, I mean, that role is not limited, but their primary role is a particular DevOps engineer, where they are solo responsible for build issues, deployment issues, and infra pipeline related issues. Groovy, they'll be writing Groovy scripts. They'll be writing shared libraries, all those stuff, right? How does this guy perform is like he will be mainly focusing on this particular area. Okay, Git, Jenkins, SonarQube, Maven, Docker images, base images. We'll discuss about base images or not. But artifact management, dependency management, all those stuff. In precise, you can consider this particular top role. Okay, till Docker. All these things can be. I'm not saying that that particular role is limited to only this. They can expand their role, but how does company work is like so I have seen few of my friends, and by the time even I was working in some previous organizations. How does we were working is, uh, either we will be on the operation side where we will be taking care of platform, or there will be some people who will be working dedicatedly on upgrading the existing infra I mean automations, pipelines, everything related to development kind of activities. Development means not writing the code, but um, updating the scripts, optimizing the uh, build timings, all those stuff, right? So that is the role of a DevOps engineer. SRE, when you talk about SRE, you should, first thing that you should get in mind is infrastructure. Any infrastructure, be it private cloud, public cloud, on premises, anything. You can name anything, but SRE is something that deals the infrastructure primarily. Their main role will be focusing on the environments management, infrastructure, monitoring, all those stuff, like monitoring, performance optimization, incident management, capacity planning. So all those things will be done by SRE. What does a capacity planning mean is, so let's say you have an application. So architects, be it development architects or DevOps architects, they sit together, they finalize on the infrastructure, what kind of infrastructure they need, the capacity, like RAM capacity, CPU capacity, how many instances they want, or how much big cluster they want, like how many nodes cluster they want, if it is Kubernetes. Like they will decide all those things and they will plan it, and we will be executing it as an SRE. So mainly SRE role is primarily on performance optimization, infrastructure performance optimization, monitoring the stack, and they will be taking care of application runtime. So basically they will be monitoring the application logs, infrastructure logs, or managing the incidents, like whenever there is a timeout issues, application timeout, or network timeout, or any infrastructure related issues, they'll get the incidents in the sense like Jira tickets or incident management tickets, service now, service now, something like, there are incident management tickets. So all those ticket managing tools basically, so they'll be handling those tickets. It's primarily so this might not have the on call. Maybe on call, if there is on call, here they'll be working on build issues, something like that. But here on call will be rotation shifts where 24/7 someone should be looking at it. So your team might be working on SRE. Okay, so this particular thing comes under this wing, where you will be monitoring the infrastructure side of it, performance optimization and all you will be working on as an SRE. Okay, so coming to so I have written roles and responsibilities as well. So as a CI/CD engineer, which is DevOps, your responsibility will be implementing, designing, managing CI/CDs. They include automating integration and deployment process to ensure codes are tested and deployed quickly and reliably. So this is what a build engineer or DevOps, plain traditional DevOps engineer does. Yes, we do have. You can ask me, like, is it's an old thing since you are telling it as a traditional, but very basic. This is very basic, and you need to master this, like how you have learned ABCDs. Okay, so that's the thing. Like SRE is more demanding of monitoring and logging. Okay, continuous monitoring of applications infrastructure is crucial. DevOps engineers set up managed tools for monitoring system performance and logs. They ensure alerting and all. So SRE deals the, so that is where I said you'll be working on rotational shifts. During rotational shifts you'll get alerts, like application related, infrastructure related. You'll be acknowledging it. You'll be working on resolving those particular based on the priorities, P1, P2, P3, high priority, low priority, medium priority, like that issues we will be getting it on SRE, right? So that's about monitoring and logging. So let's discuss the next one, release manager. Okay, release manager could be two things. So deployment model is something that is bit crucial, because you will be delivering the product to the end user. That product can be consumed by the end user, or can be taken, that product that you are delivering can be taken and use it as a dependency for some other thing. Okay, so I'll tell you, let me put it in very simple English. Okay, so I have a, so let's divide two things. One is normal application, the other one is one artifact application. So web application, let's say web application and normal artifact. So let's say you are hitting Facebook. Okay, you are hitting Facebook. What does Facebook do on the Google? Let's say let's say, is it someone does miss? Okay, so let's say facebook.com. Let's say I have hit facebook.com, and I am the customer, and I am consuming it from my laptop, right? Okay, okay, so I don't know, it has logged in. Let's say that is a web application, and you are logging into it, and you have done some basic stuff, and you are consuming it as an application. Now it is Facebook responsibility to deploy it somewhere and make it available for the end user like me. Okay, they have to deploy it on some server, make it available on particular IP address or DNS name. Okay, we call the Facebook as a DNS name. So on this name they should be making it available. So that is their responsibility. That is first thing. This is a deployment, proper deployment, where you deploy it on the server and end user is consuming it as an web application or through any application. That is one thing. Now there is another process where you can take you can take an example of VLC player, where you are downloading the package and you are consuming it. You are not accessing it, but you are taking it and you are installing it as a dependency to run a movie. Okay, to watch a movie, right? So that is one kind of deployment. That is kind of a release. You can call it as a release. You are not consuming it directly, you are taking it, installing it and consuming it. You can also consider App Store, Play Store, all these things as an releases. That's where you see versions, release versions, 1.5, 1.7, 8.0, like that. So those are releases. You can call it as releases. And here Facebook, here also will be having versions, but here you are accessing it through web application or through Chrome, right? So that is where the difference lies. There are two things here. One is releasing the application to the end user, where deployment is not needed. All you have to do is ship the product to some GitHub repositories or through your official portal, where you can download the package and consuming it. So your main goal is just deploy it on that particular not deploy, just release it to some other server where it is being accessed by the end user through web application. Let's say Nexus or VLC. Let's say VLC player only. Let us open VLC download. If you see any VLC LAN download or anything. Okay, see here they will make it available version 3.02. they will be releasing it to their servers, which I am able to access from this particular website here. If I hit it, it is going to download that particular thing. Here I am not directly consuming it, I am directly downloading it and consuming it. In Facebook scenario, you are just consuming it as a direct customer, direct user. Okay, you are a user to that. So what I meant to say is there are two things. One is releases, where you exactly release your application to the end user and he will download and he will consume it. Second thing is you will directly deploy your application on your server and end user can access it through some web application, mobile or however they want to do. Okay, so two different things. Hope am I audible? Is it understandable? Let me know if you have any questions. I'll take a break or else I'll just continue. Questions 3, 2, 1. Right. I'll just take that as a no and then I'll proceed. So what does a release manager do? So he is responsible for managing the entire release process, which means he is responsible for implementation of branches. He will be responsible for what all the things that should go for a release, what all the things that should go for a release, which means which are the changes that he wanted to merge to the development branch and release branch and taken it to the end customer. So he will be given a particular role. This particular guy can act as a proper DevOps engineer or combination of DevOps plus Scrum Master kind of role. So this involves mainly release process. So he will be managing the entire release process. If there is any flaws in the releases, if there is any issues in the releases, so his primary role is dealing with the releases or deployment process. So he will be focusing on smooth deployments aligned with the business goals. Business goals is here is nothing but he will be given a certain features to complete it in particular scrum or particular sprints. So he should be responsible for delivering it to the customer. So no matter what, he has to work with developers, DevOps, all the people who comes under his radar. He should work with them and make sure everything goes fine. And this particular guy needs a DevOps experience. So over a period of time, DevOps engineer can evolve over to a release manager, because we as a DevOps engineer connects to every team inside IT. You name anything, trust me, you name anything, data science, DevOps, data science, development, testing, name anything, I can tell you what DevOps engineer can do there. So that is how DevOps have been evolved over a period of time, and the role is been demanding in different subdomains. So that is where we have to talk, we are discussing about all these release managers, automation manager. So that role can be so deep into the IT, and when we manage entire cluster of software services, we can be a consolidated DevOps team for entire company's small scale company, or we can decentralize into different teams and work for a particular project. So that's how DevOps engineer can completely make or break the systems. Okay, so it's very crucial, and I would always recommend, if you have any people who are working as a scrum masters, or who wanted to become a scrum master because you cannot handle the technical stuff, or you don't want to handle too much of these things, just learn DevOps theoretically, see the process with visual eyes, how the things goes, and then learn Scrum. That will be a crazy combination. Okay, sometime later in middle of our sessions, I'll bring 2 or 3 people who has turned something like that, who are my seniors, and I have given them DevOps overview, and they learned Scrum, and that's a crazy combination where they have got some top-notch packages on these things in big industries, product-based banking domains, all those stuff. Okay, so again, release manager is something that deals with scrum master as well. So you can either become a scrum master who has very good knowledge on DevOps, because DevOps deals multiple areas in IT, and we will be discussing all those stuff. So DevOps guy plays a crucial role. He'll be managing that. So that is one thing. Second thing is about you can become a release manager who has a control of complete release process, who will be managing the releases, process related updates, whether process is efficient or not. If there is any task that needs to be taken, he will take care of it, and he will be managing those things, right? That's about release manager. A release manager role will be something around the entire process related stuff rather than technical. I would say it is more of maintaining the process, managing the releases, what all the things that can go into the particular release by checking with the customer, or if the customer has given a certain targets to get released for every 1 month, 2 months, or for every week. He is responsible to take all those changes from the developers, send it for release, create an artifact, publish it into somewhere, all those stuff. Okay, that's about it. We'll go to the next one, automation engineer. So this is something that even I don't like, which needs the coding part, uh, but it's okay. We have a lot of open source GPTs that is going to help us, provided you have to have a clear understanding of how to use it. Okay, so automation engineer, uh, yes, now these days, the recent things that I've observed over a period of time, uh, when I see the requirement is, people expect at least some part of automations. Like what kind of automations have you done in your day-to-day activities, or what kind of automations have you been working on over a period of time, or tell me your recent automation that you have done. So these are definite questions that you will get. um, so I would always encourage people to have some genuine automations in handy, to you, that you can tell it immediately. So either be it Python or Shell, anything should be good enough. Okay, so this particular guy automates any repetitive tasks that comes in this particular DevOps role, or he'll be dealing with this automation, automating the deployments, automating the releases, automating the build and release pipelines without any manual intervention. Even DevOps engineer should not manually do many things continuously. So our main focus would be always automation, automation, automation. So that is the key mantra. So that is where even we are going to do this like a today admit. So like I showed yesterday, um, there are areas where uh, people need automation, and we have to do it, or it could be any repetitive task that we see daily, and we feel that it can be automated. So be it like hating, you are trying to take job count, how many jobs ran last night, or if management asks for some particular report and you are doing it daily manually, so you can actually automate, create a script, write it out and give it to the people, and so that they can run it, they can get the report directly with that automation, right? Something like that. So it could be bash, Python, and configuration management tools like Chef, Ansible, and CI/CD pipelines, cloud platforms. Automation can be anything around this: build pipeline, infra pipeline, process related, repetitive tasks, all those stuff. Okay, so this guy needs a bit of coding, but these days everyone is demanding, so it is better to have one or two things handy. But how do you manage in real time work? That depends on how smart you are. There are a lot of open source. All you have to do is create a logic out of your mind and then get it from bits and pieces of the code, and then trial and error. So you can do many things. So what all I'm trying to do is, what all I'm trying to say is, you can actually achieve it. It's not in rocket science. All you have to do is um, keep an automations handy that you have done, be it small, be it big. You can project it, right? So that's about automation engineer process. Now you have an infrastructure as a code engineer. This is something that deals with uh, this Terraform, CloudFormation, Pulumi. Okay, there is a tool called Pulumi. So this is also deals with infrastructure as a code tool. Okay, so then we have what else we have? Infrastructure as a code tool. Ansible also can be used as a tool that can provision infrastructure, but that primary goal is for configuration management. But here in this scenario, we will be as an infrastructure as a code engineer, or you can also call it as a platform engineer. I don't know if I have defined it. Yeah. So this platform engineer or infrastructure as a code engineer could be very similar, where you will be managing the infrastructure, provisioning the new infrastructure, provisioning the Kubernetes clusters, upgrading the existing infrastructure with any requirements that is given by the developers or any team that who has given us. We can be working on that as well. right? So that is where infrastructure as a code engineer comes into picture. So this particular guy needs Terraform, cloud formation, and good understanding of infrastructure and clouds. I mean, predominantly we will be working on cloud only. So that is where we are going to do, and some part of scripting and configuration management is an is a must, right? For it, infrastructure as a code engineer or platform engineer. What does that role demand? It demands Terraform, Ansible, CloudFormation, all those things. Not every, you cannot learn everything, but you can know few things. So now you can ask me like Terraform, does Terraform need, like I said yesterday, does Terraform need code? No, you have everything from the HashiCorp. All you have to do is how to write small snippets for EC2 instances or IAM role, some very small instances, and all you can get is from here, AWS platform Terraform, and you see you have lot of providers, AWS, Terraform, AWS. This is provider, this Terraform, and you see these are snippets of code. So you can name anything, you will get all those things here. Any tool or any code that you wanted to do, you can actually do it from here. Let's say EC2. So this is virtual machine on cloud. Okay, so let's say EC2 instance state, you will get this. All you have to do is just take this, tweak as per your requirements, or you can also fall back to any GPT tools, Perplexity, ChatGPT, or whatever you want. You just have to ask the question, it gives. Do not take exactly same things. Do not give any sensitive information to ChatGPTs. Disclaimer. So you should never post any sensitive information of companies or anything. All you have to understand is how to ask a question, get the information, use consuming it according to your usage. Update it and consume it. Don't directly consume it. Update it and consume it. Okay, so that's the thing. That is about infrastructure as a code engineer. Again, infrastructure as a code engineer can be bit crucial these days. People are expecting both DevOps as well as infrastructure as a code. You might not be primarily working on build and release pipeline, but infra pipeline you will be working on. You will be working in where it needs again a good understanding of Jenkins, CI/CDs, how it works, pipeline, how does it work, how to write a pipeline and all. Okay, so to set up that thing or to write this thing, you need a CI/CD. So that is why I said CI/CD is like ABCD in our daily work. Okay, so that's the thing. Now coming back to cloud engineer, this is particularly again related to platform or setting up the infrastructure. It need not necessarily be from the Terraform or from infrastructure as a code tool. You can directly do it on UI, but it is not recommended to do it from UI. There are many disadvantages to do that. No company does that. There are few small scale projects that they are doing it manually, but again they'll be managing those small scale infrastructure like manually. But here in this scenario, cloud engineers is more of the service related, means like cloud related services like AWS, Azure, Google, GCP, so which has a provisioning of infrastructure for platforms like EC2 machine, Kubernetes, networks, IAMs, identity access management. So the monitoring services like CloudWatch, CloudTrail for auditing, and we have many other services, databases, storage services. So we have lot many things there, network services and all. So that particular role demands all those things. Okay, so you need to learn one cloud. So that is where I have added infrastructure as a code tool and AWS for provisioning the infrastructure. All this infrastructure can be provisioned through on AWS through these tools. Okay, so this particular role is also covered in our thing. Now DevSecOps engineer is very advanced topic. If you have security on your resume, your hot cake. At least to some extent, security is needed. At code level, we have SonarQube. At artifact level, we have check marks. At a Docker image scanning level, we have Docker Scout, we have Trivi, we have Snyk. At Terraform infrastructure as a code, to see whether whatever code that you are writing in Terraform, it is all should be at higher standards and it should be vulnerable free. So to do that, you have again Snyk to scan the code, and you will get a vulnerability list on the UI. Okay, so you can use that. SonarQube also supports. I'm not sure. I don't think SonarQube supports Terraform yet, but so Snyk is something that you can fall back to see whether the infrastructure that you are launching has zero vulnerabilities. Okay, so these are some security services. Again, you have SAST and DAST thing, where static application security testing, dynamic application security testing. We are going to cover SAST, check marks. So check marks is one tool which does the scannings, static application SAST. Okay, so this is something that it finds the vulnerabilities on the artifact side. Okay, so that is one thing. You can also use Snyk for that. Snyk is very wide tool. Okay, so like I said, we have security tools on network level and at Kubernetes and infrastructure level, but that has a separate role itself as a security engineer, or cyber security engineer, or it has many other names, but our course will not be going there, will not be seeing those things. It's irrelevant at this point of time. But again, you can switch your roles after getting some experience to complete security or network engineer, where he'll be taking care of all the securities from the outside that is coming to your infrastructure, like cyber security, network security, all those things. Okay, so that's about DevSecOps. It includes security, so I did not talk about DevOps engineer. I talked about security, so I did not. So here we will be using Snyk, OSAP, CI/CD, cloud security, automation, so all these things. Okay, so we will be seeing that, and we have build and release engineer, which I covered in the top. I just kept it just to have as a designation name, so to just see that this is kind of a designation. Build and release or build engineer. You'll be seeing a lot of build engineers roles on Naukri. Build engineer, infra engineer, or cloud engineer, cloud ops engineer, or CI/CD engineer, platform engineer, network engineer. So there are a lot of roles. Build and release engineer mainly takes care of build and releases, like I said. So he is responsible for managing the entire the CI/CDs and release process to the end customers, right? So my experience with this is in my previous org where I was working. So there we were actually releasing our product, deploying our product on the Kubernetes cluster, and end user used to consuming it. Now whatever company that I'm working on, here we are going to release our packages to the end customer, where they will use that, consume it, and use it as a dependency for other things. Let's say mobile application. So mobile application needs lot of sub things like speakers, voice, music. Then we have the screening, display, chips, microchips, all those things we have, right? So so these are not directly. So let's say any Apple product or anything that you see, it is not, everything will not be manufactured by them, so they have to rely it on some other companies. So those companies will those will be the clients for them. So we will be releasing our things to such companies like Apple, Samsung, and all. So they will be taking that and consuming it as a part inside a complete device. So we are a small part of that big device, and then likewise there will be say many other companies where we are releasing it to them and they are taking it and installing it on their devices or their chips. Okay, so that is why I said there are two deployments model. So I wanted to be very specific on those as well. So my role doesn't demand any deployment, so we don't directly deploy on any servers, or we don't any. So luckily or unluckily, I don't know, we don't manage any environments. We all the infrastructure that we are managing is only the DevOps infrastructure. We don't have any environments specific like dev, staging, production and all. Yes, we do have dev, staging and production, but that is not the infrastructure thing that we manage. It is something like devices, mobile testing devices, or laptops or something like that. So that is complete different level of testing that goes. That is not a environment specific. That is a device testing specific, right? So that is one good thing happen, and you can expect that kind of roles also, and it is very demanding, and trust me, it is like top notch packages that you get for any good roles that you have with the market in the DevOps. Okay, so that's about build. Again, this is pipeline, CI/CD pipeline. This again needs the same stuff. Okay, so this is where people are crazy about these days: containerization engineer or Kubernetes engineer or KubeOps engineer. The fancy names that they are talking about is something that deals with containers. Okay, containers and virtual machines are very similar, but virtual machines are very high, very heavy weighted operating systems. Containers are light weighted operating systems which can be easily spin up, and you can customize it according to your needs. Okay, you cannot customize your operating system, right? You cannot customize your Mac OS, Windows OS, or any such until unless you have a specific file, OS file, where you can only put your libraries, the things that you need. That is very very difficult to manage, but Docker simplifies all those things, and containers is very much simplified operating systems. Where you can only keep whatever you need and remove all the unnecessary stuff. Okay, so to manage that kind of things like containers, images, clusters, pods, deployments, replica sets, the databases on the Kubernetes cluster. So that entire maintenance, okay, that entire maintenance is done by containerization engineer or KubeOps engineer, or there is no specific role as containerization engineer, but it comes under DevOps, or it will be segregated under platform engineer or cloud engineer or something similar. Just wanted to have a clear understanding of what does this particular guy does is he will be a master of Kubernetes. He will be managing the platforms, Kubernetes clusters and the related nodes, and he'll be a master of deploying the applications on Kubernetes in an efficient way. Also, he'll be responsible for managing the infrastructure and the performance related stuff. Okay, performance related stuff is something that deals with the efficient way of consuming the resources, not wasting the money, not paying the high bills without any consumption, but still you are running high installed. What does this say? Full stack. What time session today? These were full stack. One second. Okay. Right. Kubernetes engineer does all those things. He'll be managing those infrastructure related, the platform, and the Kubernetes cluster as well. Kubernetes upgrades, cluster upgrades, managing the cluster, um, efficient way of using the resources, cost optimization, all those stuff. You'll be responsible for it. So monitoring and observability stack, this is something that I have already discussed, which this particular role demands monitoring and all. Okay, so we are going to ignore this. And platform engineer, again, I have given a names of this, but platform engineer, cloud engineer, infrastructure as a code engineer, all these things will be done by same guy. It is just that there will be different names, and I wanted to make sure that you guys have a clear understanding on terminologies. This terminology is very very important. You cannot get confused with these terminologies. So I am a bit skeptical about these things, so I have added those things here. So again, he platform engineer maintains the infrastructure and that the development team uses and deploy the running applications, where he will be taking care of dev environment. Specifically here, if you see, the reason why I have written is he will be managing the environment that is used by development teams, which is dev infrastructure and other infrastructures as well. Okay, so this is one thing. And we have DevOps architect. So this is a big guy role. One who gets DevOps architect role should have at least 10 plus years of experience on native DevOps, complete DevOps thing, and he should be aware of the tools, the market tools, the new upcoming tools, which can be less cost efficient and more reliable, right? So he will be responsible for entirely implementing the designing the DevOps architecture, or upgrading the DevOps architecture which we have existing, if there is any. And we are the junior DevOps engineer, senior DevOps engineer, the one who is below DevOps architect, they will be the one who is implementing those things. Okay, they will be implementing all those DevOps related stuff. Okay, so configuration management engineer is again, you can see this lot and Naukri. Configuration engineer or management engineer, one who takes care of upgrading the software. Like let's say I'm running Java 7 today and I want to upgrade it to Java 11 tomorrow, and I have like 1,000 servers to do it. How can I do it? I can do it through configuration management, where all the services, all the upgrades, all the software related or security package related upgrades, all those things can be done by configuration management engineer. He will be responsible for configuring the servers. So if you are provisioning any new servers, this particular guy will help us. After provisioning the infrastructure, they have to deploy some dependency, organization dependencies, certificates, and application related dependencies like Java, jQueries, and like any Node.js, all those things. If they wanted to do it, yes, this particular guy takes care of it. Of the existing infra or new infra, both, this particular guy is going to manage those things. Okay, security patches, all those stuff. Okay, so I have one more thing to discuss on DevSecOps. Okay, just now I remember. The thing that security comes, what does we cover under security on infrastructure level is like the packages or the certificates that we use on the applications or the tools, or the SC Linux activities, security enhanced Linux, SC Linux activities. So which deals around the what level of permissions that you are giving at your at Linux level, the unwanted permissions that you are giving to others. So all it deals with lot of things under on the infrastructure level. Okay, so one who works on security, so he will be responsible for patching those servers as well. Okay, Linux server patching or Docker image patching, or Windows patchings, all those things. Okay, security engineer will get updates from the security team. I mean DevSecOps engineer will get the updates from the security team that hey guy, hey team, we have a security upgrade happened last night because we see few vulnerabilities in the existing operating system. You have to patch your network. So configuration management guy, or if you are working as a DevSecOps engineer or DevOps engineer, your primary responsibility is to notify to the all the teams, development teams, whoever is consuming your infrastructure. We have to notify to all of them and say that we are going to upgrade we are going to go for maintenance on this particular date, on this particular timings, and on that even before the day comes, you have to test those changes on few servers and see if it is working, everything, anything is breaking or not. The testing part should be done, and then you have to apply it on the all changes on the maintenance window. And once maintenance window is completed, you have to run few builds on top of those or deploy few things and make sure that every application, everything is working as per previous like previous only. It should not break anything, so you have to make sure that. Okay, so that thing I missed somehow. I wanted to tell that. So network and security engineer, again he is responsible for firewalls, network firewalls, cloud security, compliance, automation, all those stuff. Compliance thing is nothing but like if dev team should not get all the access to the infrastructure, they should have only read access. And auditing, like only DevOps engineers should have admin access. Only a particular DevOps architects should have the controlling of entire. So those kind of compliances, what kind of security firewalls that we can open to the internet. So what are the blockers we have kept for security, for blocking certain IPs, certain ranges of IPs, all those things. This particular guy do apart from the managing the network aspects. So this is something that involves cyber security. You can call it as cyber security or something like that. Network engineer is not very specific to DevOps, but yeah, some part of network we deal with infrastructure. So people sometimes mislead us with those things. So to be on a clear note, if you fall back on any of this infrastructure, environment is secure or not, compliant and with the regulations set by the company, firewalls, cloud security, if you see these things, then you should be very good at networking and security management, right? So that's about the different designations that we deal, and the monitoring, collaboration and the responsibilities of this. It is already published. You can actually see it. I will be posting these 3 links, yesterday's and 3 other links. You can actually go through it. So if anything is not covered here, let me talk about collaboration and communication. So what does the collaboration and communication does help in DevOps? So this is not something that you should be very good at English, communication, all those stuff. It is something that we deal with the notification, alerting, and responding back to the immediate requests or requirements. Okay, so if something goes wrong in the build pipeline or release pipeline, or some tool, let's say Jenkins tool went down for some reason because of overload or because of the configuration issues or something like that. So the primary responsibility of a DevOps engineer is first send a communication to all the teams that is consuming Jenkins or any tool that went down or that is dependent on. Send a communication to all the teams and then start working on the fixing part. Okay, so that people are aware of that you have acknowledged the issue, you know the issue, and you have acknowledged it and you are fixing it. So that is one part of communication. Second communication should be like if something goes wrong on the infra level, you should get an alert, and that alert should go for everyone at a hierarchy level. Okay, first point of contact will be the one who is on call, then second point of contact will be the lead, and third point of contact will be the manager, and then the hierarchy goes on till we set the higher level of management to take the visibility. So that communication is needed. Apart from that, the collaboration means we have to educate developers on multiple things. What are those things? So developers know how to write the code, but they don't know how to maintain the code, how to consume the code or consume the infrastructure. So we as a DevOps engineer should set some rules and some branching strategies and some set of process related things which we have to enforce on the process and make them follow the process. So we have to educate them as a DevOps engineer. First, we should get control of the process. We have to understand the process, get control of it, see where the flaws are. If it is if the existing process has some flaws, you can upgrade it. You can propose it. If developers accept it, then you can enforce that in the pipelines, and then you can educate other developers who is consuming it, so that they will follow the process. So for that also we need communication and collaboration with development teams. It doesn't only deal with development teams, it can deal with DevOps, it can deal with data science, it can deal with testing team, or it can deal with any other team who is consuming our DevOps ecosystem. Okay, that communication is also we should have, and collaboration with other teams is also we need. So our main target is to help the developers. Okay, remember the mantra. So 90% of the work will be with the developers. Our work will be with the developers, and our key role is to help them and make their job easier. Okay, not by writing the code, but obviously we don't write the code. That's why we end up sitting as a DevOps engineer. But the reason I am saying is our primary goal is to help the DevOps development teams and other teams who are consuming us as a DevOps ecosystem. Okay, so that is the primary goal. And what else? Okay, incident management, performance optimization, automation I have dealt, security I have dealt. Okay, so let's discuss about performance optimization and incident management. Okay, performance optimization is, so let's say your application is being slow for resource scarcity or high consuming of traffic. Let's say during daytime, during banking hours, your application is crashing, or your application is little slow. So you have to see why it is getting slow and what sort of issues are we getting. The process related, or the code that is written is not efficient, or the resource that we have given is not sufficient. So as a DevOps engineer, we have to make sure that application is equal at all the times, and if it is needed resource availability during the high hours, we have to put some auto scaling where it can auto scale the required instances based on the traffic, so that your application is not going slow down or it is not crashing at peak hours. That is one performance optimization. Another thing is you cannot keep these instances running all the time, because during night times you don't need those many instances to run, those many servers. Instances here is nothing but servers. Let's say during peak hours you are running 10 servers. During nights you don't need those many servers, because you need just 2 or 3 servers. So you are unknowingly paying money for 8 servers which are running during the night times. As a DevOps engineer, as a infrastructure architect, or as a person who is responsible for managing the infrastructure, we should be taking care of performance optimization or cost optimization, where teams get project budget will be like we will be saving some project budget, which is our primary duty as well. Okay, so performance optimization could be on the infrastructure side or application side. We have to efficiently use it. On a Kubernetes, we will manage cluster auto scaling, pod scaling, horizontal pod scaling, vertical pod scaling. On a regular application level, we'll be seeing how many resources does that particular application demand, see the traffic, understand the patterns from past 30 days or 1 year, or how much ever you have the logs and the patterns on the Grafana or something like that. You should be able to understand that performance, how it is performing, and you can accordingly scale the instances, schedule scaling, or traffic based scaling, CPU based scaling. You can do a lot of things on different parameters. That is about performance. Now incident management and troubleshooting is something that deals with the uh, ticketing things, which comes under Kanban. So during Kanban, I'll be discussing about Kanban separately under Agile. So Kanban deals with incident management, where you'll get the build issues, deployment issues, infrastructure issues that developers observe or testers observe or the end customer might observe, and they will raise incident request on the Zira or through the service now. I don't know if service now. We have one more service now is ticketing tool, right? Is I think it's a service. Yeah, it's a ticketing tool. Yeah, like service now, like we do have multiple things there. So we whenever issue arises, DevOps engineer are often be the first line of defense. Then they are responsible for quickly diagnosing the instance, resolving it, temporary fix, permanent fix. We'll be segregating that. If we have temporary fix, we will apply it and unblock the other people, and see, the first line of defense, like the point says, is yes, we are the first line of defense, because let's say there are 100 developers that they are using my Jenkins. Let's say my Jenkins. Now if this Jenkins goes down, 100 people will be sitting idle, and they have all the reasons to say that Jenkins is not working, so we are blocked with the testing, or we are blocked with the development things. So they will blame us. Now all the management will come and hit us, because all the 100 people time, and uh, time is money in IT, right? So all those time has been gone, so you are the responsible for it, and you should be taking that blame and all. So we as a DevOps engineer should always make sure that the issue doesn't come from our end. 90% of the time it should be not from our infrastructure side, automation side, the tool side, process related, all this stuff. We should ensure that. Okay, so this incident management and troubleshooting deals with the build and release pipeline issues, infrastructure related alerts, monitoring, application logs, all those stuff. We get the tickets and we work on them. Okay, so this is something that deals with incident management, right? That's about it. And I hope you understood this session well, and understood the different designations or different roles that DevOps demand, and how well we have to perform, and what are the things that we are going to cover. So all these things that we have written will mostly cover whatever I have dealt it today, except the security on platform side. Platform means like on the instances level, like say C Linux and all. That is not a primary role of a DevOps engineer. There could be some people. Sometimes we'll be applying the changes, but we'll not be the one who is doing the R&D and find out the fix and apply it. So we will get the fixes from the security team. We will patch it. We will apply those changes on our infrastructure. So you can also tell something like that. Okay. So I guess we are 2 minutes cross bordered. That is absolutely fine, as long as you get the knowledge and stuff. I hope you understood this session well, and let me know if you have any other questions. I am happy to respond back. And the fuck, what happened? I'm back. I'm not sure where I lost. Does anyone know? Can someone respond? When was the last time you heard? I think my network is off for some time. Anyone there? How long it has been gone?
Uh, yeah, Kalyan, I think you were able to complete all the roles and responsibilities, but
So what was the last sentences that you heard? Did you hear me saying about incident management and troubleshooting?
yeah, I think I'm able to hear that one. I think that's the last part. I think. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I think then we are good. Um, if not, I have my recording happened here. I'll be posting it anyways. So that's about it. That's the role, and we are covering almost pretty much everything under these roles, and uh, so let's see in the next session about the agile methodologies. So as a DevOps engineer, what are the agile methodologies that we have, and what do we follow and how we follow it, based on the proper tickets and all, like high level tickets. How do we get? How do you see all those stuff? So that is something that I wanted to tell even before starting any technical stuff, so that you understand the process. So basically I can directly jump into these things, Linux things and all, but if you don't know for what reason we are learning it, then there is no point in learning. So I wanted to clearly tell what exactly we have on the role and how we wanted to perform it. Okay, so for that reason I wanted to have some time, understand the roles and responsibilities as a DevOps engineer, and how do we perform as a day-to-day activities, like what kind of role it is and all. Is it a DevOps engineer? Is it a platform engineer? Is it a site reliability engineering? And is it a release kind of release management, or is it a automation engineer? So we have to, like, uh, at the end of the interviews or at the end of the day, you have to understand what kind of role you are playing it, what are the things that you need, or where are you lacking in, and how do you want to pick up those things. So that is where I would encourage people to understand first what this DevOps role demand, see the roles and responsibilities, and then start learning it, observing it. Okay, so you start observing it and then absorb, means practice, read, see, watch, practice. That's how you master it. So it's all 3 to 4 months of effort, and it will give you nice result at the end of the day. Okay, I'll just stop it here.